Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about. Actually, I had one subject that I wanted to talk about for this afternoon's video, but there's other things that I just feel I need to get out there because it does seem to be kind of imperative. I want to let you know that I have released another podcast. This is an audio-only podcast. Something you can listen to while you're in the car or while you're cooking dinner or teaching the kids or whatever. Over at locals.com, that is my home base, okay? You can find all the free videos that I post here on YouTube, also over there. And then there's extra content. And so you can watch the free stuff if you want to just watch the free stuff. And when YouTube kicks me off, because it's inevitable that they probably will, or just suspend me again, you'll find me producing content still over at Locals and Rumble. It's kind of all part of the same big thing. Rumble and Locals are the same thing. But the Locals is there's a paid membership side to it. And for those paid members, you get to see additional content that I produce every day, as well as news updates, articles my wife writes. And then now I'm doing a weekly audio podcast. And so you can listen to that over there at Locals because it's set up to do podcasts too. That's pretty cool. So I just uploaded that a little bit ago. You can go listen to that and talking about AI and the beast system. So let's just start off with the latest news. The latest breaking news is there's some weird stuff going on with Russia, Ukraine, and NATO. As I've mentioned this morning, I believe, and yesterday, or once or twice this week, Lindsey Graham is really hitting the war drums hard. He's now saying that even if Russia strikes or bombs go off near a Ukrainian nuclear power plant, that could be enough for an Article 5, that NATO and the United States could get involved. And it does appear that things are kind of heating up in that area. It seems like there's just this intensity that's happened in the last 24 hours or so. The Wagner Group, those of you that don't know what that is, most of you do, but the Wagner Group is the mercenary group that Russia has been using. They're a Russian mercenary group. They have been using a lot of Russian criminals in prison. They've been, getting them out of prison on their sentences, commuted so that they can go fight against Ukraine. And according to the numbers, they don't look like they've done too well. They've had a lot of complaints over time of not getting enough supplies from Russia. They took a pretty lengthy time and a pretty bloody war, it looks like, in Bakhmut, which they finally were able to succeed and take over that city. But now, the Wagner Group says that they are kind of teed off with Russia and that they're going to, that they've had enough and that they're maybe going to start fighting against Russia. Who knows? Speculation is that they could be siding with Ukraine at some point. The United States government has said that this appears to be legitimate. It appears to be this fight between Russia and the Wagner Group may seem to be legitimate. Of course, it could be the United States saying that because it's all part of some kind of crazy psyop. Who knows? But it does appear that things are kind of heating up and going crazy. You remember just a few days ago that a bridge in Crimea was struck by Ukrainians. There's just, it does seem to be that the intensity is picking up. And I think that over the next few hours, few days, I doubt much more than 7 days, we will start seeing some things happening. Now, that doesn't mean that NATO's going to be involved or that there's going to be a nuke or something like that, but it does appear that the winds of change are in the air and that something may happen, good or bad. And so I just, as little as information as there is about it, it does appear that something's up. And I wanted to go ahead and bring that to you because as it's kind of coming across the wire, I'm trying to consume it while I'm doing many other things around here. And I just wanted to at least get that out, that be watchful over the weekend. It looks like that they're just trying to find some reason to get NATO involved, at least the warmongering war hawks in the United States government, which appears to be just about most of them on both sides of the aisle, really just want to, they just are just faunching at the bit to go to war against Vladimir Putin. And it's been this way all the way back since Obama was in the White House. So this is nothing new. The thing that I really wanted to talk about is, well, it's pressing, but it's not something that's happening only in the immediate. It's something that's been happening. And it's going back to the border issue. You know, remember Title 42 ended and people just started flushing across the border. And of course, the government and the media are trying to spin it that, well, Title 42 has ended illegal immigration for the most part. There's not any illegals coming across the border. And I guess by a technicality, they're correct, but they're only correct because they're changing the rules of it. These illegals are able to apply for asylum before they even get to the border. There's a phone app now that the government puts out, and while you're still in Mexico and traveling, you can do all the beep boop beep bop on your phone, and you can apply for asylum and get granted right there on the phone. And so when you actually cross the border, by a technicality, you're not really illegally entering. In fact, so much so that there's buses from the United States on the Mexican side of the border picking them up, and just, they're not even having to like jump the fence and swim the river or anything like that. They're just being picked up on the Mexican side and shipped all the way over to the United States side. It's a huge problem. In fact, the Border Patrol has pretty much just become this big nanny agency that takes care of all these illegals coming across, asylum seekers coming across. We'll use the proper politically correct terms here on YouTube. And they're not really having a lot of manpower to spend actually securing the border from real crimes that are committed, even though, of course, the asylum seekers are crimes too. But we're not going to get caught in the weeds right now, okay? I'm talking about cartels and running human trafficking and guns and drugs and stuff. Basically, the border is just pretty much being dominated by the cartels. That's all really bad. But there's something that's maybe even worse than that. The United States is funded camps, immigrant camps, all the way down in Panama. So there's evidence to indicate that these camps are being partially, somehow, quasi in juncture with the CCP. That's right, that these camps, the United States and CCP are putting these camps up to house a lot of Chinese citizens that are coming into the United States. And so there's like base camps down in Panama so that they can come there and get all their stuff and get kind of, refueled and then make the long trek up to the U.S. border through Mexico. There is also some of these migrant camps in Texas right now. There's some of them that are as big as that can hold up to 20,000 migrants, and there's video of them if you kind of do the digging online of that. Michael Yon, many of you know who he is. He's a former Green Beret and an excellent award-winning investigative reporter. He has been on top of this from day one. And he's got footage where he's gone up into a private plane and taken videos of it, where they're building a new facility that they estimate will hold about 200,000. That's correct, 200,000 migrants. He has spoken with government officials, federal government officials in Texas, and of course, a lot of this is being contracted out to private companies. And one of those companies just recently purchased about 35,000 acres in Texas, and with the plans to build basically a city. That's pretty much what they're going to build, is a kind of a migrant camp city there to house all of these migrants coming across the border. Now, the vast majority of these are military-aged males. Some of them are Chinese, some of them are Russian, many of them are throughout all of South America, Latin America, some of them are Middle Eastern, there's a lot of African, but the vast majority of all of them are what we would consider military-aged males, between 20 and 35 years old. Yes, there's some women, there's some children, and there's some young and elderly, but the majority are the military-aged males. And they're being housed at these big camp-like facilities that are being built with, apparently, at least the rumors, there's no conclusive factual, like in-your-face evidence, But it does appear that there's a few more of these scheduled to be built over the next few years because, well, the hundreds of thousands that's coming across the border every month, where are you going to put them? This is not good news, America. This is really bad news. I mean, the border's been really bad news for a while, but it's substantially worsening as we speak. And of course, the news cycle has moved far away from the border issue now that Title 42 is old news, and no one really cares about it. And we're focused on Hunter Biden and his guns and his dirty pictures, and how his father just can't seem to say anything correct anymore, and so on and so forth. There's still, we're being invaded, folks. It's an actual invasion. And whether or not the people coming across the border are foreign nationals with the intent of doing real espionage, you know, they're coming here to take down grid and to take down, you know, infrastructure and stuff, or they're just here because they need a free hand, they want to, you know, get cheap labor, they want to, you know, get free housing and free medical care. I don't know, but either way, it's bad news. From the interviews that Michael Yon and a few other people that he associates with, that they have done on the border, on the United States side, where they have interviewed these migrants, these, you know, asylum-seeking migrants that come across the border, it doesn't sound like in these interviews like what you may have heard 20, 30, 40 years ago of a migrant coming to America, where they really had this love to be an American. They wanted to be an American. I have several friends, actually, that have immigrated here, and they've become nationalized citizens, and some even that's still working on it. In fact, a good friend of mine's wife just a week or two ago got her citizenship, and it was a very proud day for her, of course. That was her intent all along, was to get to that point. A lot of these that they're interviewing down there are not like that. They're very thuggish and gang-related kind of activity and behavior. Many of them have used very cursing explicitives on what they think of America and think of Americans, and that they can't stand America, and that they want, you know, they don't want any part of American culture. This is what's coming across the border. They're coming here to, well, you bring us down as a nation, I believe. Not all of them, I'm sure. I'm sure that there are some that are coming here to do good, and that they truly just want an opportunity to kind of get up the ladder in life. I'm sure that there are some. I have no doubt about it. But there are definitely a lot more. If you just look at the numbers, just look at, if you could come up, and I'm sure someone has or could, come up with numbers of just general society. If you took the humanity as a whole, what percentage of them are criminals? What percentage of them are degenerates? What percentage of them are this or that, lazy, you know, all it. And you come up with the numbers, and it may only be single-digit numbers on some of those. But when you're talking 200,000 and 300,000 people a month coming across the border, you're talking thousands and thousands of people coming across the border every month, minimum, that are intent upon doing crimes, that are intent upon just sucking off the government, that are intent upon just bringing America down, and that hate America. Even if those numbers are single digits or maybe low double digits. With the numbers of people coming across, the numbers of the bad ones are getting to be pretty high. And this is a serious, real problem. If we end up going to war with China, with Russia, or any other problem that happens, grid coming down, disease being spread, you can pretty much guarantee that some of that problem is going to come across the southern border. There is a belief that there's already military units, Chinese military units in Mexico. There's belief for a while that there's been some in Canada. I can't say whether or not that's true, or it's just some crazy conspiracy theory. But with this coming across, then hearing last week that China's building a new training facility 90 miles off the Florida coast in Cuba, and just kind of the increased hostilities between the two nations, this is a really bad deal, especially since Mexico was saying that they want to be part of BRICS. They want to buddy up with China more than they want to buddy up with us, and we're not doing anything about it. I think we're not doing anything about it, and this is pure opinion. It's because the leadership of this nation actually wants to bring us down. They want to create a chaotic collapse. Because when they create the chaotic collapse, then they can offer this beautiful solution. See, this is Hegelian dialect. We figured it out for you. It's amazing how we have this solution in this time of chaos and crisis. And that's what we're going to end up being left with. And you need to be getting ready for it, stocking up, prepping up, bulking up, and just waking up, folks, because it doesn't look good on the war front, whether it's China or Russia. And it certainly doesn't look good down on the southern border. You folks need to be getting your houses in order and preparing yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Folks, we are living in uncertain times where chaos seems to be around every corner. With wars and rumors of wars, economic collapse, pandemics, and more, we should strive daily to become more prepared mentally, physically, and of course spiritually. Please check out My Patriot Supply for all your preparedness needs. My Patriot Supply offers Ready Hour food, Alexa Pure water filters, and many other emergency and survival products. My Patriot Supply is an American-owned company, run by Americans producing American-made food. Emergency food from My Patriot Supply has a 25-plus year shelf life. It's simple to fix and delicious to eat. With My Patriot Supply, you can sleep at ease at night, knowing that you and your family have the emergency food to last through the coming times. To find out more, click on the link in the description below or go to preparewithtravis.com.